virtually every one of the top 40 records being played on every radio station in the United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden symbols and messages, as well as all the lyrics of all the pop rock songs. And they all sing the same refrain. It's fun.
This is a special request. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb. Some call it marijuana, some call it sensimedia, some call it lamb's bread, and some people call it ganja.
Welcome to another Adam Dunn show. This time I am completely Han Solo here. No Wookiees to be spotted. Is that a Wookiee? Coming in. See, that's all I have to do is say the word. Oh, there's a Wook. See? I thought I was Han Solo today, but I guess I'm not. So that's all good. We got Vinny in the house. So I just thought of so we are not going to have any major guests today. Last week we had Addison in the house from Steep Hill, which was awesome. We have also got, we had a good chance to talk to him. He has opened up Steep Hill Halant here in town, so it was good to get an idea of what's the future holds for all of this. And so today I'm going to talk a little bit, just kind of general cannabis inquiries, right? Today is a good day if you're listening to give me a call because A, I have no real guests, so that would be awesome. And B, I kind of want to know what people out there think about what's going on wherever they're calling from. Whether it's be in New York, who's about to looks like they're about to go medical, and or if you're just right here in Colorado and you want to know what's going down here. So, like I said, just today is a good day to give us a shout. The call-in number is 720-381-1420. Obviously, has to have a 420 in there somewhere. So yeah, give me a shout. Obviously, Big Mike will call because that's what Big Mike does, or he'll at least ask me some sort of question there along the way. But and I want to big shout out to our sister store there in San Francisco, 1669 Haight. Anybody out there in San Francisco that wants to go check us out there, please do. Big sales going down right now on some of the winter gear because we're getting closer to the end of the season. That's how these things work. So do me a favor, swing by that shop if you are in the area. Would be awesome. Now, you do know there's rules about dogs on air, right? Because they take up all the attention. So everybody knows I don't like to have people who talk on too much because I like to talk. So last thing I want is a dog taking all my looks too, Yeah. Come on, people got to pay attention. They're all watching me, right? No, just kidding. Shout out to my mom on the farm, holding it down. I'll be out there soon. Shout out to my wife and my baby. Going to be rolling down at the lab right now. And, I wanted to just get this. Before we start, let me talk to my sponsors because I always forget and get a blabbing away. Our number one sponsor, Way to Grow, 11 years in the game. And like I said, they have multiple locations. They have 6 locations right now. The newest one is at 1051 South Platte River Drive, and that's their 20,000 square foot plus facility. Huge amount of stock, obviously. Then they got the original shop up in Boulder. Oh, that's the original shop in Fort Collins, actually. And then the Boulder shop, which anybody up there is small, but definitely rolling. And the original shop, the other shops in Denver are 58th or 57th Avenue, 301 57th. And they're Lakewood, which is the West Colfax. It's right near Sheridan. So I think they just finished their deal of the $57 bulbs. Maybe if you pretend like you still knew the deal, they might hook it up for you. Got a frozen thing on the left there. Frozen left. Oh, the dog's over here too. Is that the case? No, we're fine. Okay. So dog's been knocking out the internet here. So if we see us freeze, blame the dog. That's what it usually comes down to. So big week last week again, as usual. I mean, the one thing I've noticed is that these weeks come rolling by. and they, it seems like I was only here yesterday with Addison, and now we're already back in the station. And I mean, cannabis news without even looking anything up. I mean, the big story is, which I'm actually going to call Jason Lauve, and this is a big story in the hemp world, is the farm bill that just passed through Congress, and now it's got to go to the president. I doubt he's not going to sign for it because it's such a positive bill. Are we off the air now? No, we're good. Okay, we're good. So the farm bill being a big thing, in my opinion, is because it's going to open up the gateways for people to start growing hemp and producing lots of hemp products and changing the world. That's how we do. So big year. I'm going to call Jason Lauve in about 45 minutes. I think he's working away right now, so I'm going to try to get in touch with him and get his impression on what this farm bill means. I mean, we all know it's extremely positive, of course. And what else has been going on? Basically, the big news lately has been the whole loosening up of the feds. And the reality is that they're just looking at the money. So, of course, when they see millions of dollars being generated in a day, then they start to look. It's just part of the deal. I even heard some comments where they were saying like they were surprised. They were surprised that people really like this cannabis stuff. I was like, wow, you guys haven't been paying attention very much because, stuff's about to get real major. And it's the states that are opening up. New York is a big one right now. It's big talk. I mean, Nevada, all the end states, it sounds like, right? Not Nebraska yet, though, but soon. They actually jumped on the hemp bill, which is nice. I mean, so they're down to do hemp, and think about Nebraska. I mean, they have plenty of land for that. That's for sure. Other than the farm bill, I mean, as far as the recreational side, it seems like it's toning itself down here. Everybody keeps calling me, asking me what's the deal, and it's like it's funny. I have yet to go into a recreational shop. I mean, it's like it's here. What's the point? Actually, yeah, that's not true. Yesterday I did. I went to MMJ America. Just had to go talk to somebody there, and so I got to sit in and watch the vibe. And it's interesting to see because before it was the different protocol because it was a patient and they were local, of course. And so there wasn't really that much of it was less interaction. And now what happens is the first question you ask when somebody walks in is, hey, where you from? And I listened. I was there for maybe 15 minutes and it was, Ohio and, all these different states. It was all these different states. It was nobody's from here. It was Ohio, New York, New Jersey. And they were just rolling in one after another. And these guys are seeing about 300 people a day in their shop. So, I mean, that's
Each one.
Yeah, and that's only one of his 5 shops. Stinky dog. So it was quite fun to sit there and sort of observe, and it was also interesting to know because it seemed like all the original ideas as far as have to have separate entranceways and have to have none of that was in effect. I mean, it was pretty much like walk into a room, and if it's go to this side of the room, it was recreational, and that side of the room was medical. And it was just like, oh, okay, I guess that's not well, it's not nearly as complicated as I thought they were going to try to make it, which I'm glad because you can't really let things happen and then stifle it. That doesn't really work, So I would, I would suggest that if anybody really wants to come and experience a little bit of American freedom, then definitely come here and purchase some cannabis. Not that I'm the great example because I'm too lazy to go down there and do it. But it's one of those things. Even in Amsterdam, though, I don't think I ever bought weed in Amsterdam at a coffee shop. It was like maybe once or twice when I first moved there. But after a while, I was just like, why would I? You know what I mean? Because self-sufficient person. That's how it rolls.
I think there's more people coming in for the oil and the.
Well, a lot of people were asking about edibles there. That was like that seemed to be the main thing they wanted was tinctures, edibles, things like that. And I mean, it's going to be the next couple of years while this whole CBD craze is in effect, and people are, obviously going to go out of their way to help cure their kid or their husband or wife. So they're going to go and make sure that this happens. And it's pretty amazing because like even us local, like doing our own thing, we've all almost seen it happen with a patient where, you don't even, we're not 100% sure. Like we're just giving them something to see how it works, and then to watch it actually work as fast as it does within a month or so. It's like it's amazing. Even one of my friends was telling me the other day he's got 2 patients that are completely cancer free that he personally gave them the medicine to not even, and he was not even a big believer. He was more like, it's going to happen. And then he gets the phone call, like, yeah, it's done. He said, call me when she's cured, and he called her and he was like, hey, she's cured, So it was like kind of like those are just like one story from one friend literally yesterday, just mentioning it to me. So it wasn't like, the miraculous story of the century. It's just one guy. So there's tens of thousands of people doing the same thing, and hopefully, helping themselves out and getting off of pharmaceuticals and getting off of all this other bullshit that doesn't really help in the long run anyway.
We hear of at least one a week.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's amazing. So the other sort of side of right now of the direction it seems like everything is going is, I keep getting asked on a daily is, so where are these people going to consume all this cannabis? That seems to be the big consensus. Anybody who knows my spot or the spot, Hood Lab, they should understand that we are. We obviously don't sell any cannabis, and you don't need to, because there's plenty of dispensaries that do that. But there is a need in this community for safe consumption spots, and that's where Hood Labs always tried to help out. And there's Illusions, and there's other shops that sort of do too. But it's kind of like we're all got our hands tied a little bit because we're not sure where we're supposed to go with this. Now my suggestion is that more shops be like us, and kind of, if you have an outdoor area, patio, or whatever, make it available for people, and I'm pretty sure your business will improve. As far as we really need and it is a safe place to smoke. That's literally what we're trying to do, and it's like the safety factor is strictly on the fact that we don't want to get in trouble for consuming openly in public or whatever they want to call it. So really, it's like just giving that option, and especially now in the winter when it's like cold and raw out, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? You're going to buy it, you're going to sit in your car, and that's
a bust.
Yeah, that's a bust. On top of everything, it's not smart. It gives a bad image. That gives a bad image to the city. And that's what I think they need to understand is, if they want to make because that's their kind of consensus, is that we're going to attract all this stuff.
Afraid that's what they're going to see.
And then on top of that, though, the opposite would happen, is they would all the shops around them would do better because the people need some food or some drink or whatever. And, it just sort of, it evolves. And we're starting to see it. It's interesting because when I moved to Amsterdam in '89, it was already been going on for about 15 years. So it wasn't anything new to me, of course. So I, observed, and
we all wanted to go.
And then now here it really is new. So we're in this weird zone where I heard stories of how they operated back in the day with the provost. So the Dutch, they were smart. They were kind of smart the way they did it. They didn't do it. They just sort of had this idea look, we're not hurting anybody. Victimless crimes. Let's move on. You know what I mean? Because their crimes they were only committing were dealing or something.
Somebody asked what the hell happened to Puna butter.
What the hell happened to Puna butter? It was just a really difficult plant to grow for me. It's one of those things. It was very leafy, awesome flavor and stuff, but it just had that real cabbagey kind of style plant, so the internode length really tight, very hard to keep a mom around. After a while, you couldn't even get a cut off of it. So just more or less out of inconvenience is why it got eliminated. And of course, it was the classic where it wasn't, wasn't selling so great, and nobody was really that excited about it or anything. And then the minute I discontinued it, oh my God, everybody's coming out of the woodwork. Where do I get the Puna butter? And I swear, my friend Johnny, who was with me in Amsterdam, who did the first crops we did of that, it was like they were under the impression that I had brought back lettuce seeds or something, because I was like, no, dude, this is the Puna butter, and it came out like a fluorescent orange cabbage is what it looked like. It was just a big leafy thing, and it was all really light colored. It never got dark green, so it always stayed on that kind of underfed looking vibe. And no matter what you did, if you tried to feed it too much, it would burn up. And so, yeah, just a little bit of a pain in the butt. That's what happens with these strains, and that's the other thing too. People got to understand, as a seed company, one of the things people always complain, your stuff's so expensive, or this. It's a lot of work, dude. It's like maintaining somebody on life support system for 20 years plus, because you have to you can't just go and leave them and, come back and it's dried up and, oh, there goes my mom. You know what I mean? So for instance, keeping a mom around, the Puna butter was 1993, 94, even earlier, 93. 92, 93. So, I mean, we're talking 20 plus years here, you know. So it's definitely, if you got one out there, I mean, that's the thing too. I always look for people who bought things from me back in the day and have held on to it, because that is, you know, a gold mine right there, especially if you get strains that have been lost and are super sought after. I mean, there's plenty of them out there. And Puna butter, I have guys in Hawaii that were growing it, which I thought was weird. I was like, really? So I had to like bring you back your own genetic. It's kind of strange, but it was just island because they were in Kauai, but they lost it themselves, and now they came to me asking me, and I was just like, hey, I can't help you.
Somewhere.
I can't help you. So I hope that answers your question of the Puna butter mystery. And if you, like I said, if anybody out there has access to some original, give us a heads up, because we'll definitely love to, you know, bring that back into the fold at some point. Now that I have a better grasp of why it was such a leafy plant to begin with. And as far as, let's see, what other exciting things happened this week there, Vinny? Anything? No. Meetings. Oh, Super Bowl. There you go. Hey.
Go Seattle.
Forgot all about it. It was such a depressing game for us. But, yeah, I think we are all winners on that sort of Super Bowl story because of the media coverage of it was so heavy. Didn't hear as much stony stuff as I would think from the announcers. I thought it was going to be a little more tongue-in-cheek just because everybody seemed to be going for like the 420 kickoff and all that stuff. It seemed a little bit ironic. But overall, I mean, I think, again, there was no major dramas at the Super Bowl, which was awesome. I was kind of expecting there to be some sort of nightmare situation with the security and all the you know, possibility of a false flag or something like that. Could have happened. Glad to see nothing happen. Nobody got hurt. No craziness like that. Definitely think the TSA being there was a sort of like another slap in the face for America, as far as like, okay, guys, maybe we need to like decide that we don't want these people to be running our schools and our, you know, games and our public events and things, because I just don't see the point of it. It seems to me to be like you're bringing in the wrong people. You're bringing in like people that I wouldn't even trust in a situation. You know what I mean? That's the problem. It's not like any of those people look like they're trained very well or in good shape or possible, you know, have like that real, like, wow, you know, bring the Boy Scouts in if you want to do that. You know what I mean? Bring in guys who like maybe actually have like a little bit like more honor behind them, you know, not just like couldn't get a job, so they decided to get a job with TSA, and now they got this little power trip going on, so they're loving it. And then it's just like, yeah, really? Are you kidding me? So then to find out that they're actually in charge of the security of the whole thing, I just think that to me would be the only thing. That'd be the one thing I'd be like, that has got to go. You know what I mean? Especially to be checked, because you know how they are. They love to hands down the pants, as they like to say.
Well, they kept all the cars out. It was all transport buses.
Uh-huh.
So the parking lot was empty. But one of the guys from one of the local radio stations said it was great because they were just busing, but the time frame was bad.
Yeah.
Because one of them got stuck there till after the award ceremony, after the trophies got away, after that part of it, and they were still waiting for 45 minutes after that.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's it's something. I mean, we're trying to get like so ridiculous. Like the security might get to the point where it's not making anybody want to go. It's like when I don't like to go to events when I know there's too much security in general. Like if I just know the club's going to be douchey and they're going to check everything. Just like when we were in Vegas. We were in Vegas and they had the Champ Show. There was a party downstairs and people got arrested going into the party because they had, you know, either they had some wax on them or some shatter or a pen or whatever, and it was just like, really, they were just taking people's pens away from them one after another, and pretty much every person going into that party probably had a pen on them almost, you know. And that's not hard to find if you're security.
Breeze right through.
And so yeah, I mean, you got to go in all those situations, just, you know, go straight for the jugular, like you own the place and you'll be fine. But yeah, even our friend got hassled.
Yeah,
even our friend got just really for like a tiny little minuscule amount of weed, and they were ready to call, you know, Metro on him. But luckily in Vegas, they definitely are getting used to this stuff too. But
they're not. They're ready, but not going for it.
No,
not yet.
Is there another question at the bottom? I see my name there or something.
It says, love your shirt, Adam, and do you prefer shatter or honeycomb?
Shatter, really. I mean, the thing about shatter is if it's done properly, great. I don't want it if it's overheated. Honeycomb's got better flavor maybe off the front end, but all those things, what I try to sort of well, what I think is the reason. I mean, I can't say it's all true, but I think with shatter, for instance, it's the stability is there. You know, it stays what it is. Like the flavor that you taste is there. Sometimes it's less intense than if it was in wax or butter or whatever. But the thing is with all those other ones is that if it's exuding like a lot of flavor and smell, well, it's going away, you know what I mean? So let it sit out for another week and let's see what it tastes like, you know? So after a week, kind of lost it. And I don't really like all sappy stuff. I'd rather have it to be, I want to be able to just kind of break it, you know, like click, 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 boom, done, you know? So
Click, click.
it's shatter. Shatter for the win. But I'm also here in Colorado too, so we are very biased. So just like California seems to be very biased when it comes to butter. I don't know what it is, but they love butter.
Too.
They love butter. We love shatter. I think a little bit has to do with the fact that we live in a dry environment, so our shatter stays shatter. If you live in a wet environment, your shatter may not last into shatter, so you might be, you know, what happens changes over time, and nobody wants to, you know, have to catch it at the right moment. You want it to be able just to pick and choose your times.
Don't you like dry sift better than both?
Dry sift, yeah, if it's done. I mean, it's the numbers. Well, the problem with dry sift is like it's really you only get such a small amount. It's pretty much your little special treat, and you can never pass it on to anybody because it's like there's never enough around. So it's purely, you know, pretty much mostly personal. Even when you have a lot of weed around, to do good dry sieve, you really don't want to run it too long. You really want to keep it very quick, and also you're needing to screen out your tops and your lows, and so in the end you throw away such an amount. Well, you don't throw it away, you use it for something else, but you're not really getting, you're only getting that the most 3%. If you go above 3% on dry sieve, then you're probably getting into more plant material and stuff. I see another question.
Chunks.
Nothing good.
Even in a wet environment, won't those shatters stay shatter if it's been de-waxed?
It should, but a lot of it depends on where it's stored. For instance,
Fridge or freezer to store it.
yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan because once it gets into that environment, it's almost like you've given up ever carrying that thing around with you, because the minute you pull it out, it turns all weird. It gets used to, you know, it's in there, it's on its own, and it's in that environment. So when you pull it out, it's completely different, and then it changes. So yeah, I think stability is important. So that's why I like shatter, and I think ease of use is important too. And I think that's just why oil in general is always so such a hard to get out to the masses thing, you know, because it was big in the 70s, and they had some really strong oil that was super clean and had been refluxed over and over again. So they kept, you know, taking it and condensing it tighter and tighter till it was super powerful, but nobody ever knew what to do with it. They'd hot knife it or big mess and get it.
Big mess.
So I think, I mean, that's been the situation. It kind of is still, because there's plenty of people out there with some real sappy stuff, you know. So yes, parchment paper is the way to go, right? Is that what it says? Parchment paper?
Parchment or silicone.
Parchment for sure. Yeah.
The old stage hash you've smoked, and does it get better with age? What's the oldest?
Oh, I've had 15-year-old hash. You know, it's like about that. Last time we were in Amsterdam, I think that's what Watson had, was like 15, 16-year-old dry sieve. That was bomb, you know? I mean, that's the thing. And the thing that people don't understand, well, some do, but resin is an encapsulated, perfect little, like, encapsulated oil ball, basically, yeah? So the minute you strip away the outside of it, which is what solvents do, that kind of changes it, makes the plant go into sort of a I wouldn't say degradation, but it moves ahead, whereas it stays real stable when it's in dry sieve. Like if you have dry sieve, you keep it for, again, like 10, 15 years, not a problem. The minute you hit it with the flame, the oil, the outside of it breaks, the oil gets exposed, boom, you get the flavor. That wouldn't happen. I mean, I have not seen any older, because all the water hash I've seen, nobody ever keeps it around. All the solvent stuff also never stays around. No one's really had a piece that they've pulled out, and if they do, it's usually gone very red, really like a dark red. You know, it's changed it. It's completely transferred from CBD, from THC to CBN to CBD, and so you end up with that sleepy, sort of dark, heavy, you know, stuff, which
some people look for.
Some people love it. Some people love it.
Especially if you get a nice sativa that it's done that, because you get that first nice little rush, you can get some work done, and then you go to sleep. You're done.
Yeah, well, the thing is, and in regions that produce hash still, like in Morocco, Nepal, places like that, they do age their stuff. They cure it out, sit on it for a while, and it's kind of like when you're drying your weed, you got to get timing is really of the essence. If you let it sit too long and get too dry, then it's hard to ever bring it back. If you seal it up too wet, you almost can never get, you can almost never get it to the right spot either, because it's like you kind of lock it in at that spot, and then you have to kind of work your way around that. So I think dry sieve is the way to go if you're thinking about personal stash that you want to keep for the longest time. But if you're thinking commercial, it's definitely a rough one on the commercial side. What was the last question or last two?
Are you doing another 315 grow?
Yeah. We got the second round in right now. This time we're doing a bunch of stuff from seed too, so it's kind of like more kind of individuals. We're not kind of just going for the one room deal. We got like a bunch of different seedlings. So yeah, it's interesting. It's actually quite funny too, because I have the two rooms next to each other. I have a 1,000-watt room and the 315s, and because of this cold that we have, I came in today and all the intakes were just frozen solid, pretty much, like thick amount of ice on them. So, and in that room was like, I wouldn't say suffering too hard, but it definitely would look cold. They had that little, and then they went over to the 315 room and they were just booming, because again, there's no glass in between them. The other ones, it's like, even when, I'm trying to make the room cooler, of course, but at the same time, when it gets freezing, when it gets down below zero, then you're on the opposite side. You're trying to make your room warm again. And by turning down all the lights, all of a sudden the water started dripping into the lights. Just like there's so many things that are against, running against you. So by using the open bulb 315s, that room, perfect, man. Looks greener, looks a lot better. So I'd say, sometimes when you isolate, when you put like lights in link and you're venting them out, it's, especially in the winter, you might be venting out too much. You know what I mean? So now you end up with this opposite problem. Now I need to figure out how to retain heat. So.
For sage, is it better to top or just go tree style?
It works. It works both ways. If you top it, let it kind of recover for a couple weeks. It definitely needs that. It needs about 10 days recovery time from the time you top it and see some new shoots popping up, and then before you flip it. But it's a pretty woody, stemmy plant. Like it really it can hold itself up fine. So I've seen people just throwing them outside and going for the trees, and naturally on its own, it has a very good structure for it, so not a problem. But topping it never hurts. It's just give it that 10 days recovery time. A lot of people I've seen people top them and then they flower them the next day, and it's just like the plant hasn't figured out that it has two tops yet. It almost thinks it still has one top. So now you've just cut it off, and now it's just producing that one top, but it's not. And then it takes like 10 days for it to heal up, and then all of a sudden it starts to go into the two. So yeah, just give yourself recovery time is really the most important part.
And don't put it out too late.
Not too late. So let's see what time it is. Oh, it's 12 o'clock. I'm going to take like a 5-minute break right now. I haven't had a smoke yet, so gotta get. And I'll show off my latest in pen technology. We'll be right back. Adam Dunn Show. Thanks.
Canapunch is a delicious and effective medical marijuana beverage proudly made right here in Colorado. Each bottle is freshly infused with 100% pure flower extract from the highest grade marijuana plants available today. Using proprietary extraction methods, every bottle of Canapunch is consistently and reliably infused with an exact milligram dosage that you can count on to relieve your symptoms each and every time. Canapunch is delicious. There's never any medicine-y taste. We use only 100% cannabis flowers. No trim or byproducts are ever used in Canapunch. It does not require refrigeration and comes in convenient, resealable multi-dose bottles from 60 milligrams to 200 milligrams. We have drinks with dosage that works best for you. Canapunch is available in a variety of delicious flavors like black cherry, watermelon, pineapple mango, and blue raspberry. And we now have strain-specific beverages available just for you. Canapunch is delicious, convenient, consistent, and effective. Give it a try and experience the Canapunch difference.
Call Canisher at 1-800-420-5757 for all your insurance needs. Canisher understands the risks you face each day, and we are there to protect your business and your investment. Since 2010, Canisher has been serving the cannabis industry nationwide. Call Canisher at 1-800-420-5757 or visit us on the web at canisher.com to learn more about our insurance and risk management services. Proud member of the NCIA.
Independent Records and Videos has been your locally owned and operated choice for music, movies, and lifestyle accessories since 1978. Independent Records and Videos has 7 locations from Denver to Colorado Springs to Pueblo to serve your entertainment needs. Whether it's vinyl, CDs, DVDs, books, smoking accessories, or hundreds of other fun and fanciful items, Independent is ready and waiting to make your dreams come true. We are always buying, selling, and trading vinyl, CDs, books, and DVDs, so sell yours and buy ours. Independent Records and Videos, your entertainment headquarters. Check us out at beindependent.com or on Facebook.
High up in the Rockies is beautiful Frisco, Colorado. Medical Marijuana of the Rockies is a medical marijuana center with compassion for Colorado's medical patients. Looking for great meds grown organically in soil? You've come to the right place. Medical Marijuana of the Rockies is just off I-70 at exit 203. Check them out at the web at www.mmrockies.com. Their ever-changing strain and clone selection is updated on the website daily. When making a trip to the mountains, no matter the season, stop by Medical Marijuana of the Rockies. Make sure you say you heard about them on iCannabis Radio. You can call 970-668-MEDS to get more information. Medical Marijuana of the Rockies, your mountain source for meds.
The law offices of Edson Maton and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
Whether you are a commercial grower or cultivate as a hobby, No Dough Urban Garden Supply is Denver's first stop for your hydroponic grow needs. With a wide range of products including House and Garden, Botanicare, and Fox Farm, their knowledgeable staff can get you started on your first garden or help you with your well-established business. No Dough Urban Garden Supply is located in downtown Denver at 1330 27th Street, 4 blocks north of Coors Field near MMD of Colorado. They are open 6 days a week from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call 303-296-3424 or visit them on the web at www.nodoughurbangardensupply.com.
This segment was brought to you by The Farm, a medical marijuana care center located at 2801 Iris Street in Boulder. The Farm carries premium, cannabis, edibles, and Hummingbird brand products. Visit our new cannabis lifestyle store for your local artesian glass, vaporizers, and hemp clothing. The Farm has been serving Boulder since 2009. Isn't it time you come and see what we have to offer?
Green Faith Ministry is for spiritual guidance, MMJ information, and networking combined with compassionate care on the way to enlightenment with all Green Faith sacraments. Green Faith provides charity assistance, including medical and food throughout the year. Contact them at greenfaithministry.com.
Are you a medical marijuana patient or interested in finding out how to become one? Contact Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. Conveniently located on Hamden and Tamarack in the Whole Foods parking lot behind Proof of the Pudding. Mile High Wellness offers a wide variety of edibles, hashes, and some of Colorado's top strains. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. 3525 South Tamarack, Suite 110, on the corner of Hamden and Tamarack. 720-382-8516. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern.
Extraction Tech Solutions. Not only is it safe, but it offers one of the only ETL certified essential oil extraction systems on the market. Our equipment meets or exceeds all of the North American safety standards. Customer relationships are important to us, so after the sale, it doesn't stop for us. We are reliable and therefore when our customer needs us. We offer pre- and post-sales training, method development, services, and repairs. Extraction Tech, safe and reliable because it matters. Contact us at www.extractiontech.com or 720-515-9254.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On grass. Runongrass.com.
National Cannabis Industry Association would like to thank its members who represent the leading professional businesses in America's emerging legal cannabis market. NCIA is the only organization that has unified legitimate cannabis business across the nation to fight for real reform in Washington, D.C. For more information or to make your business a member, visit us online at thecannabisindustry.org.
Welcome back to the Adam Dunn Show. A little bit of a break there. We're going to call a friend of mine in a little bit.
Question.
What's that, already a question? Jeez.
Did you read about the preacher in the Denver Post about that he said that cannabis opens your mind to the demonic realm?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's obvious. Come on. We're all demon-worshipping Satan lovers. I mean, come on. That's an obvious. But, yeah, and I love it when, I mean, right now is interesting times because it's the most desperate headlines I've ever seen. Chicks dying in England, that was a good one. That I don't even want to, like, I'm not even going to give it my time of the day because it was such a load of crap, basically. But, you know, in England, when I lived in Amsterdam, I swear every week someone died in England from cannabis overdose. And I was just like, this is the biggest load of crap I've ever seen. And they just kind of keep trying. And it's like, I figure if they just tell you over and over and over and over and over again that this is going to do it, then yeah. I mean, it's quite interesting to see the level of education that some people have because, this is not the first time that I've heard somebody believing that these people die. You know, it's just like, come on, guys. You guys really got to get your facts straight because it's like our number one fact about cannabis is that nobody's ever died. I mean, that's pretty much the first thing you learn as an advocate and as a person who wants to support this thing is that when anybody throws at you about the children or about people dying or families getting ruined, you can pretty much guarantee they don't know what they're talking about because the only thing that cannabis did for those families usually is put some food on the table for them, you know what I mean? So, and then you come and take the dad away, and then you wonder why, oh, the family's ruined, you know what I mean? It's like, well, yeah, you ruined the family with your ridiculous policies. So whenever I hear demonic, family ruining, whatever combinations, I pretty much know that is a big leap for them to try to get to the last gasp.
Uncle's a priest if you really need one.
Uncle's a priest. Hey, if you guys need a priest, Vinny's uncle. What was that last question? Something good? Or
do you prefer sieve pressed or unpressed? And how much heat for how long for pressing?
Okay, so I assume we're talking dry sieve here. Now, this is the one thing that people don't get about hash is that it's not finished when you have sieved it. That's just the first step. Pressing is really important. Now, it depends how long, when you want to smoke it. If you want to keep it for the longest amount of time, don't press it. Press it when you want to smoke it. Because by pressing it and by bursting those glands, what happens is you started the process. And what people don't get sometimes too is, like, for instance, when you cook with cannabis, you're heating it up, right? You're decarboxylizing it. And that process that you're doing is increasing the strength of it. Yeah. So, but it also has a shorter shelf life because right after that, it's going for it. You know what I mean? It's moving forward. So then you have a window of opportunity, maybe 6 months, whatever it takes. You know, however long it takes before this stuff starts to break down. Because what happens is the THC, now that it's activated, it's really active. That's why when you eat something that's been heated up, it really rocks your world. You know, and if you try to eat cannabis that hasn't been heated up, it doesn't really work. It kind of needs to or you have to put it into like alcohol or some other vehicle to get it into your system because without the heat, it doesn't your body will make the heat and it will activate it inside your stomach, but it'll be so long, the process takes so long that by the time it actually happens, you're already asleep. And then you wake up the next day and you're like, man, what a hangover, you know what I mean? You never even got to feel the effects of the cannabis before it actually hits you. So similar to when you're pressing hash, if you press it, just realize that now you want to smoke it soon. You know, you don't want to keep it around forever and ever and ever. You can, much longer than you could with other stuff because it is more stable, but it loses its oomph a little bit, you know. So if you keep it as a dry sieve, as powder, you can keep it for, like I said, 10, 15 years, not a problem. Press it, probably you should smoke it within a year or so. There you go, decarboxylize.
Patients for medical marijuana.
Yeah, sorry. Vinny sidetracking me. See, that's why I have guests on, so they can, or my co-host, so they can just sidetrack me every so often. And knock
There's
me
a good chart on.
He's got a chart.
Patients for medical marijuana has got gut cancer. Here you go. And there's another chart to decarboxylate, so it's going over time and temperature. So if you look at it, I say top temperature.
Why you see a big screen right now? I don't see nothing. I see nothing but a white screen. So
check it out.
What was it again? Patients for
medical marijuana.
Patients for medical marijuana. So if you look that up, there's a great chart for decarboxylizing. And why? Now, how do they come up with the chart between cancer and decarboxylation? I don't even understand how that works.
They're just saying that the cancer patients need the decarboxylation if they're going to eat it. Also, just like you just said.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. See, they're reiterating what I said. So basically, yeah, you want to decarboxylize if you want it to really knock you down. What's that?
Big Mike wants to know if you have an Instagram account.
Sagemaster, of course. Sagemaster. Personal account.
And do you like acai?
Acai? What, the drink?
It says, love my Atmos Junior pen. Do you like acai?
I like acai, the drink. I don't even know what you're talking about. I like... Dun, 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 dun.
The vape pen. No torch.
See, this is what most people's vape pens are topped with, is the little tiny little thing. And it needs a carb, right? So I realized it needed a carb. And then when we were at the show, I saw some kid walking around with this thing. And I was all, wait a minute, that's what I got to have. I got to have the Ridiculoso water.
Joey had the carb thing. Same kid, it looks like. That thing's awesome.
That's my pen that I like. No, it's using the Dr. Dabber bottom because it has a 15-second burn on it. But it's the, here, show them the recirculating action of the ooh. Pretty over-the-top pen if you're going to go pen, right? It's not very discreet either. I don't know if this would be such a hot thing to be running around in the club with or something. But from a hitting point of view, bam.
That is clean.
It's the missing element in the pens, which is the ability to use water and the ability to carb it good.
Well, I think you just get a better hit. You get the taste. Because if you're torching your nail, you're either too high or too low, there's no consistency. So this, you've been able to get a true taste out of it.
For a pen, bomb diggity. I think I got to find out the name of the blower. I think his name was Ty, but I'm not sure. Have to find out. The guys I got it from, though, a company called Dr. Dabber. They make the classic globe, but they have a 15-second burn on the button instead of a 5-second burn, which is nice. And they also have ceramic coils because those other coils sometimes are made out of brass or some bullshit.
And it's an immediate burn.
Immediate satisfaction.
Instead of waiting.
So that was my big score at Champs. I mean, this year I kind of took it easy. Like last year I went nuts and I was getting all sorts of stuff. This year I had to take it a little more easy. And so that was my one big purchase.
Did good.
You got to do one. I mean, that is the key. So we also have coming up into Colorado is going to be the big show, which is the Buyers Industry Group. And they... are going to be, it's sold out. They're going to be basically the pre-warm-up for the Cup. So the Cup is going to be in the same location as they're in. They're there from the 16th to the 18th, and the Cup starts on the 19th, 20th, and 20th. Yeah, so it's going to be that whole time frame from that. Plus we've got in town at the same time as 420. We have all sorts of entertainment. I mean, this there's Red Rocks is booked out, and it's going to be nuts again. We're going to have a good 11 days straight of just cannabis craziness going on here in Colorado. So hopefully everybody out there that, I mean, it's already booked up. Rooms are booked. Flights are going crazy. I looked at some of the flights, and I was just like, oh, my, they're really jacking everybody here. They know exactly what's up. So make sure if you have a chance and you really want to come here, you definitely want to book it now if you can.
Was there a place for cigarette smokers at Hood Lab?
Yeah, it's called On the Street, buddy. Get on the street.
You can follow me.
Now, we have a front and back outdoor. We suggest people smoke out front if they want to smoke cigarettes, because in the back it's much too irie for that. But people do anyway, and nobody seems to care. Because the whole deal at Hood Lab is we are outdoors. The shop itself is a non-smoking area. But the actual outdoor front and back, obviously. And, we got it all nice and comfy for you out back with heaters and tents and all the 9 yards. But cigarette smokers, I pretty much would rather you stand out front in the cold and be depressed about your habits, because that's what you deserve, So, as a cigarette, right, Vinny? Hey, here's one right here. This guy, he's probably been smoking. Yeah, he still smokes cigarettes. I see all the time.
We got to stop.
Bad stuff.
Bad stuff.
Bad
It
stuff.
needs to stop.
I'm definitely not out to promote tobacco, that's for sure. So, like I said, out in the cold is where I want you.
You didn't even know I smoked.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not a big. I'm not out there trying to. I'm not trying to bum cigarettes off you. That's the one thing I noticed, that anybody who smokes cigarettes and they don't buy them, then that's the ones that annoy me the most. Like, well, I don't actually buy cigarettes because I just borrow them from everybody. And then you're like, really? Well, that's really slimy.
Let's call Jason.
No, call her and find out what the deal is. Because she's locked out.
No, yeah.
Okay, never mind. Oh, good. I was worried my wife was locked out of the lab for a minute there. So, good. So, another question? Or?
That's D-Money saying no bachos in the green room, Vinny.
That's right.
Bachos.
No bachos. So I'm glad to see that D-Money was down at the lab to save the day, because I did realize that I had left the key inside. It was a classic. I would have been like, no, left the key. But hold it down at the lab. Good. So we are going to give Jason Lauve a call. I have to get his number in a second off my phone. And then I'm going to see what he thinks about this whole farm bill, because he's been at the forefront of this whole hemp thing, and it's really about to happen now. So it's kind of like with the first of the year, how I didn't even hear people really talking too much about it until really close. Like, we obviously amongst ourselves, we were talking about legal. It's going to be legal. I can't believe it, but like, it seemed like everybody didn't really believe it was going to happen, and then it happened, and it was like, whoa, this is happening. Similar, it's almost the same vibe with the hemp thing, because we are within a month from now, so March 1st, so less than a month, like 3 weeks from now, people can get their permits to start growing hemp here in Colorado. And then that is going to get global news again, because farming is sort of the most basic thing for any country as far as like self-supporting and all that. And then if you were to take that into account, and then look at they're looking at possibly 30,000 acres this year being planted. It's all limited on the amount of seed we can get. But this farm bill opens up the importation of seeds as long as they're registered and certified, less than 0.03% THC, all of that, which is there's like 22 strains right now in Europe. So we have access to all of those. And we will be able to accommodate them, I believe. So we have hemp flax coming over here from Amsterdam, from out of Pekela, which is a part of Holland in the north, but Dutch-based company, and I used to work for them. So the way it's working now is we're trying to get them over here, get the ball rolling, and get some crops going, because it's going to take us 2 or 3 years to really knock out the kinks, but in those 2 or 3 years, it's only going to add so much prosperity to the state and ability for us to be more self-sufficient. So it's going to be huge, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm pretty excited because, I mean, those. I remember looking at those original producer of cannabis, I guess they were the original. Dockets they had for the farmers to be able to grow hemp, and I remember looking at those and thinking, that'll never going to happen again or whatever. And now it is. It's actually happening again. And not only is it happening, it's for real this time. It's not going to be the kind of thing where they pull it out from underneath you like they did with the farmers back in 1942. So they gave them all these things and they let them grow, and then after that they just, oh, by the way, that's we don't need that anymore. So party on the 17th. So we're gonna give Jason Lauve a call. I have to look up his number real quick. And
somebody asked if you've gotten the stash mitts in yet.
Oh yeah, we have stash mitts in. come on down. Yes, we do. We have a
There's
box.
a bunch of sizes if you're looking for your lady or yourself.
Okay, so here we go with here's the number here for you. It's the bottom one. And so as we move forward into this big hempy year that we're about to go into, I think, it's going to be a game changer. So I'm really looking forward to. All I want to do is see the fields, man. That's all I care about. I just want to drive next to fields for like 15 minutes straight. Just. I think by 10 minutes in, I'll be so therapeutic for me. Hopefully he's not working too hard.
The Google subscriber you have called is not available.
Jason.
Please leave a message after the tone.
I even called him ahead of time and said I'm calling you. So, all right, I'm going to call him again. I'm going to send him a message right now, see if we can get him back here in the next 10 minutes or so.
Or tell him to call in.
Or I'll tell him to call in. Let me see.
New Year's Eve was weird. It was like a low.
Uh-huh.
It was like slow. Nobody knew what to expect. You knew somebody was going to go stand in line all night. At least one person somewhere.
Yeah, no, well, I think as we all knew that we had so much work ahead of us, meaning like, wow, we're going to have to, got all these people come in, you got to accommodate all these people. But the next day was pretty much the rest of the world realized what we had already realized the night before. Because they were like, really? Is that true? So I sent him the number, so hopefully he'll call in. If we don't hear from him in the next 10 minutes or so, I will call back and see what the deal is. But I'd like to have people like Jason on the show because he is got, literally, I can't say feet on the ground, can I? He's got his wheels deep on the ground, placed firmly.
I don't think he's had a chair for a while.
Oh no, he's not out of the chair. That's true. He's actually the first time I met Jason. Well, not the first time. One of the first few times, it was like it took me a while to kind of decipher everything that he was trying to tell me because I was like, wait a minute, so you can walk now? Like I was like, oh my God, it's a miracle. But it wasn't quite the miracle I thought. But I was really like, wow, you've cured yourself with cannabis. And I mean, in a sense, he definitely has maintained, that's for sure. And
strengthened.
Huh?
Strengthened his immune, strengthened his whole.
No, I'm amazed. The guy's unbelievable sometimes. Like he's just, more active than most. That's for sure. Like even at the trade show, like here's a classic example. We're at a giant trade show, and there's all these people who are obviously have zero conditions at all, except for being super lazy, and they all have rented out these carts, and they're all riding around the whole show. And then, here comes my friend Jason, and he's like on his crutches coming across. He's super tired, and I'm like, well, why don't you just go get one of those things, man? You're I feel guilty riding in them, so I don't do it. But I was like, man, if I needed one, I'd be using that like in a heartbeat. But he's a more determined person, so he didn't really want to deal with any of that. He just wants to get there and make it happen. So, hats off. Let's see. Let's talk growing again, because I mean that's always probably why half the people check in. They want to talk about growing. So everyone's always interested about these 315s. Yes, they're doing great.
I've heard a lot better.
But apparently, there's also the same guys from Summit Lighting are about to release 1,000 watt soon. So all the naysayers who don't want to believe that 315 can do some damage. And the thing is, the way I look at it is, if you want to be objective about it, take 1,000 watt anywhere, and then take 3 of those 315s, and I can guarantee you your yields are going to be higher. And coincidentally enough, they'll be about 65 watts short of 1,000. So 3 for sure. 2 pretty close, definitely. I mean, 2 I can almost say that we will get a better yield. 1 is really hard to compete, but you will get 200 plus grams from 1 light. You know what I mean? So if you can just pull off. Like I said, for every 3 lights, you're definitely getting 1.5 pounds almost, and then that's a lot better than a lot of people do on thousands. Of course, there's plenty of people out there that love to talk about 3 grams per watt and 2 grams per watt and all that stuff, and I'm like, yeah, great. I barely believe you, but especially it's also wet weight and dry weight and all that. So, but altogether, I'm definitely going to say, if you're any non-believers of the 315, is just wait, because soon come around the corner within a few, probably within about 2 months, I believe, 6 weeks.
Will stress affect male pollen?
Stress affect male pollen? Not. I mean, it would only. Not really. I mean, the thing about stress in general, it would never. Pollen's like a locked. It's a completely locked thing. There's no adjusting what's going on there. You know what I mean? It needs to get to where it needs to get to go to the next phase, to move on to the next thing. What happens is, if you stress a plant, you may make it produce less pollen, less effective pollen, let's say, maybe, because it might come out earlier and not be quite as fertile. But you're not going to mutate it in any way, shape, or form. I mean, that would take up. Here we go. We got a call in. Hopefully that will be our boy. Welcome to the Adam Dunn Show.
Adam Dunn, it's Jason Lauve calling you about this amazing event that we have going on with the Hemp Bill.
Hey, good, glad. Thought I lost you for a minute there. sure having a super healthy butter substitute.
Land O'Lakes.
No Land O'Lakes. That's crap.
That's the whole thing about this, is that we're at a place where everybody can come to the table with and it doesn't have to be any table, it can be their table. But with their own ideas, with their own inventions, whether it's a food development or some sort of bedding or clothing, what have you. I think that this is what's so exciting about these opportunities.
Yeah,
there's room for everybody.
Yeah, and there's going to be a explosion of ideas, because, as we know, nothing better than just sitting down and smoking a big fatty and thinking about what you got to do, and then going like,
right,
with your 70-year-old aunt that just called.
Well, yeah, and especially when especially when there's
real quick. There's a some of you know I had another head injury recently, but I had a car wreck about a month ago, and of course, being who I am, I tend to research things excessively, and I came across there's a new research paper that demonstrates by using cannabis in certain ways, edible oils and things like that we could actually increase the mitochondrial production in our body, which then, essentially is the essential root for everything else that goes on in repair and healing. And so, in terms of, helping the brain and protecting the brain with neuroprotectants, keep cannabis in mind for those of you that, may bump your head.
Oh yeah,
and that goes into the NFL conversation. That's been the topic at hand recently too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, no, that is the immediate sort of the anti-inflammatory action of the plant and all those. I mean, it has such a. It's funny too how it is like designed to sort of cushion the fall, as you say, or if you have any kind of major incidences or something. I think the fact that it slows you down and puts you in a restful situation to begin with is part of the healing process.
Exactly.
Mimicking things, which is what most of the pharmaceuticals do, and mimicking them is not really helping you heal. It's actually masking the problem.
That's a really good point, Adam, because a lot of people use, on the stereotypical sense of things, the opponents, the anti-cannabis crowd, tend to use those excuses on their side, if you will, of, hey, you guys become lethargic and sleepy and forget things.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a really strong argument that those, like you just said, are part of the healing process. You need to rest. Your body is reacting to what it's needing at the time, instead of our brain taking opiates and pushing past that point of pain. Of our body's saying, "Hey, slow down," kind of thing.
Sure, but it's also a real general statement to say that people are lazy and sloth-like or any of that, because the reality is we're not. It's only when you need it. If you need it. And pretty much, I think one of the nice things that is like about this whole having the ability to have cannabis when you, like, for instance, you come home from a long day at work. Some people drink, some people smoke. The people who drink a couple of drinks a day, they're actually super healthy. Like, they don't even know how healthy they are. But most people, they don't. Most people are 3 and turns into 10 or whatever. But like two or three drinks has always been documented as the healthiest, because the reality is that those people live a longer, healthier life than people who don't drink at all, and the people who drink excessively actually even better than the people who don't drink at all. That's how bad it is. That's how weird it is. Like, you're
talking about decent alcoholic beverages, not like Night Train or
no, exactly. And they're talking like 2 to 3 drinks a day, which is actually quite a lot. I mean, that's like that's pretty good amount. But it's also part of the keeping things flowing, I think, properly. You know what I mean? And the problem is, like, so alcohol always helps move things along. That's why it works great with cannabis. You know what I mean? As far as if you want to make a tincture and you use alcohol, it speeds up the process. It goes in really fast. So there's 2 different ways to look at it on that side. But no, from the daily use type thing, I think mild amounts of both are actually, super healthy in a way. It's like, as weird as it sounds, Well,
that comes back to the hemp seed, and I notice that people are starting to use hemp seed more and more consistently in their diet, are looking better. They tell me they're feeling better. They're getting better rest, more consistent sleep, those kinds of things. And so it's really cool to see that all these things add up, all these subtle changes.
Yeah,
and Dr. Bob, I think Dr. Melanie would say it's far from equilibrium thermodynamics. You got to create some sort of extremes for those possibilities to happen, whether it's healing or idea creation or so on and so forth.
Yeah, it creates a perfect environment for it. So
I think the expansion is coming from, let's say, if we in Colorado saw ads or we saw something talking about it on the news, we saw it every day almost. Well, that every day has now hit the world. Where somebody, there's news now every day across the world about cannabis or the hemp, and people are now seeing it mainstream. So now more people are talking about it because we've got all the social media that just spreads it like wildfire. So now you've got my aunt asking my sister, who's asking, hey, us, after all these years, coming back and saying, hey.
Yeah. No, and it's great. I mean, that is really one of the most unique things about the situation that we're in right now is that there's so many people who are at that perfect age where they just, they've never had a chance to try it. They've been scared about it, and now they feel like, they've been lied to, which is one bad side of it all. But at the other side of it all, it is an ability for them to now appreciate this thing, and they'll probably benefit from it more than any of us would, because as you get older, you need that cushioning. You know what I mean? That's part of the deal. Like, we don't need it as much when we're younger. We can get through the day. But when you get older,
to notice it more and more.
But when you get older, you're definitely going to be needing it. And then part of that would be the not just physical, because physical, obviously you need to rest physically, but mentally you need to rest too. And the ability to forget things, which is sometimes unthought of, is actually pretty important, and that's one of the things that makes us evolve as humans. Because if we had to remember every single thing that ever happened to us, and we'd have a hard time leaving the house because we'd be scared of everything that happens, because you kind of like, you have this built-in fear. And I think it's different in the animal kingdom. In the animal kingdom, it's more like they have a shorter, they can remember things long-term, of course, but they also have, it's all instinctual, they're working on instincts.
Yeah, you can argue that that's where PTSD is basically the inability to forget.
Yeah, and that's huge, and that's exactly where cannabis works wonders. You know what I mean? Because
it's the other thing that's really trippy, and just looking at the health aspect of things, we're seeing that a lot of cancers go apoptotic, if you will.
Yeah.
The apoptosis is triggered by the cannabis oils and
massive
smoke and
saturations of THC, basically.
What's scary though on the other side, not necessarily scary, I shouldn't say it that way. It's disturbing to see that our cancer numbers are expected to go up. I think it was like close to 30% next year, over this next year. And obviously, it just doesn't happen in the snap of a finger. It's a development, but
sure.
But it's something that is increasing, and openly, I'd say that all these Cancer Society things, honestly, in my mind, are somewhat of a joke. I think a lot of the money goes to CEOs and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
so it's encouraging to see that a lot of this is being researched in the cannabis realm, to seeing what it can actually do for people.
Yeah, it's awesome, because I think that part of that deal is too that if you were to take the research that's going to happen now in the next, say, 5 years, probably going to like leapfrog all of what they've been doing for the last 30 years. You know what I mean? Because they're really going to see like, wow, we've been coming at this the whole wrong way. You know what I mean? And
well, keep in mind, they knew about the cancer and cannabis thing from the 70s, the early 70s. So it's that alone is a little disturbing. It's taken us long to actually get to this point, but we're here. We're here.
Yeah, no, and we're gonna and we're not only are we here, but we're about to make some major inroads in the next year, and it's gonna probably change the course of America, really, if you think about it.
Well, the universities are jumping in.
Yeah,
when you've got the state universities jumping in,
be a big one. That's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, and like I said, they're going to have so much cool research, because obviously these guys are, it's for the first time, they're not trying to get negative information, because that's been the problem with cannabis research up until now, is that anything funded by the government was obviously looking for negative research. Anything,
Thanks to NIDA, right.
And so they were like, if it came out positive, like in 1972, when they figured out that it was actually possible way to knock cancer out, they already knew that. You know what I mean? They had it. They tried to kill mice with THC and realized that they lived longer after they injected them with massive doses of THC and had cancer. So they're like, wait a minute, this thing has cancer. We're dosing it. We should be dead. You know what I mean? And they're like, well, actually, it's doing better than the one that didn't have cancer. You're like, oh, this is definitely got to get squashed. You know what I mean? So all those research
But then
studies.
there was the wave of people that believed it and didn't believe it.
Yeah, well, it's the same people that believe that that you kill after they put 114 joints through a monkey on with a gas mask.
It, right?
Yeah,
right.
they were like, that's not good. so
Well,
yeah.
it's kind of cool because we've got, like right now with the research aspect of it in regards to what's been going on, Hemp Cleans with Eric Hunter's been doing a lot of work, and then Ben Holmes at Centennial Seed, and you guys have your own experience over the years with the cannabis seed in other ways. It seems like all this is starting to come together. I've been contacted by other countries, and their research universities that want to get involved in phytoremediation. I'll throw it out there. I have a feeling that we're going to see this year, like you said, it's going to be an exciting year. I wouldn't be surprised to see Fukushima start to do experiments with hemp.
Yeah, no, it'd be great. I mean, right now would be the perfect time to heal the planet because we have such disasters going on all sides. I mean, we have the Pacific is glowing red right now, purple, as far as on the for the isotopes and things. And it's like, so that whole side of the world has got its problems. The northern hemisphere has its problems. You know what I mean? It's just like we basically, unless you live in
locally, we can make these changes locally and affect the world globally.
Unless we all want to move to New Zealand or something, if the whole world wants to move to New Zealand and try to stay safe, that's about the only thing we can do. But even there, they're getting kind of like hit now by Fukushima, which before they were considered, out of the loop. But I mean, yeah, it drifts mostly our way, but they definitely get.
If you just rain seeds over there.
And tell me about the banana thing you were telling me, because the other day, did you actually have any proof on that? On the radiation levels on bananas coming out real high?
Oh no! What I was meaning by that was that the current radiation levels in bananas is tell me it's nothing. I didn't mean that they were radiated.
The Great Banana Scare of 2014
the level of Fukushima is not as bad as we think it is.
Yeah. Well, I'm a bit nervous. I haven't eaten a lot of fish, I'll tell you. I'm trying to stay away from all my Pacific fish these days, unfortunately.
Yeah, actually, since we're on the radio, it was hot from Audible here. They're just walking through. Catch you guys later.
Okay, man. Thank you very much for helping us out here and giving us an update on the whole Farm Bill. And
absolutely. Absolutely. There's, of course, there's so much going on, but we'll be announcing a lot of stuff this year. So.
Yeah. And we'll be talking to you soon, obviously, Jason.
Have fun, Jace.
All right,
Thanks
take
care.
The invite. I'll talk to you a bit. Cheers.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
That's the man.
Yeah. There you go. Jason Lauve on the air.
All over the place.
Very busy guy. He's also running a thing now called the Hemp House, which is basically going to build a 5-story hemp house here in the downtown Denver, real close to the Hood Lab too. Built out of hemp with all hemp interiors. Every single piece of the building hopefully will be hemp influenced, if not made out of hemp. Carpeting, everything. So. Big projects, lots of things going on around here. That's going to be one to keep an eye on. Get some other questions in there at all, or is it just all the same? Same old. Okay, well, you guys got a little bit longer to ask questions. So,
somebody asked what your favorite nutrients
are. Nutrients. Well, actually, at the moment, I'm running a line called Millennium out of Colorado. It's the same guys that used to work for General Hydroponics, and he developed the Bud Blood back in the day. So he was actually the first guy to come out with a sort of additive, because back in the day, Bud Blood was the first phosphor boosting thing that you could buy. So the guy's been he actually did this same line a while ago, but it was in that zone where people weren't really interested in new stuff. But now they've redone the formulas. They're working with the guys over at Chlorophyll here in town. So I've been using that formula mixed with Aptus. So it's I'm using Aptus additives. Millennium Base is my formula at the moment. And the Millennium is I'd say about 95% organic. There's 1 or 2 products in there that I'm not 100% sure of. Almost the same with Aptus. They have one product called Mass Boost, which I don't believe is 100% organic. But besides that, it's all pretty damn good, and it's really effective. And the thing about Aptus that's really nice is that you don't waste anything. You really are using like, half a mil to a mil per gallon of these products, and only on one time, and then you wait, and then you hit them again like 3 weeks later. So there's never it's not like this mass saturation of just nutrients where you're throwing them in. Hella expensive, I'll have to tell you that much, though. Some of the most expensive nutrients I've ever worked with. So it's not cheap, but it definitely works awesome. And it's great for flavors and terps and all that, all the good stuff. So if it's available where you're at Millennium, check it out. And if not, contact us and I'll get you in touch with the people who make it, and maybe they can ship it to you. So
there'll be a lot of stuff coming out this year, I think.
What's that, food-wise and stuff? Oh, yeah. There's so many products on the horizon. There's food and soils and things, and everybody's about to come to fruition with it at the same time. So it'll be an exciting year. I'm looking forward to working with all of those new products because that's what it is. It's just like a total never-ending experiment. We're always looking for the better one, the better soil, the better food, whatever. And I'll always try new stuff. That's been sort of my downfall for a long time too, is that I tend to want to redo everything. Redo it. Try something new, and some other friends of mine have tried and true with the same method, and after a while, it almost like it comes to you because you do the same thing over and over, and you screw up the first couple times. But that's also part of the deal. And so someone like myself, though, they end up kind of chasing, keep going, because you're always trying something new. So we've actually stuck with this Millennium now for about five harvests now. So we're getting the hang of it.
And it matched up with the 315s this round, though.
Worked out real well. And also the thing I liked about it the most, one thing I do like is that when you're mixing it, if you mix it the way it's supposed to be mixed, you never add pH down or anything. It all just stabilizes at the right level, and that's huge because I've had other stuff where, you mix it all up, it comes out high, you bring it down, next day it's high again, you bring it, just like never-ending battle. And it is going up a lot of times in the system, so you're pretty much, especially on hydro, it's like a nightmare because on hydro you're always compensating for you need to come in lower, it's going to go up higher, it's going to balance out. Going to go ring higher, balance out. So you have to
just push it to 3,500.
Or you just push it, 3,500 ppm and just try to grow it in soup or something, But that's possible also.
I saw it.
But in the long-term way of growing, I think it's always better to figure out your whatever it is that you can run the least and get the most. Because, obviously you could always overdo it and throw tons of money and waste it down the drain and all that. But if that's the easiest way to save money is just by less newts, that's a huge way. You're making money when you're not spending. What's the last one? Anything good?
When can I get THCs in Denver on recreational level?
Ooh. Can't really give you a when, where at this point because I'm still in and we're still negotiating, you could say. But in general, not long, put it that way. Not long. We're looking at probably June-ish or something like that because I'm helping some people start some projects, and we're going to get some of our strains out through them, and then they will be rec. But it's classic. Right now, the people who didn't get rec licenses are kicking themselves like, why didn't I do it? Because they were thinking it was going to be like, somehow they thought it wasn't going to work or something. I don't know, but now they realize that
was that lull on New Year's Eve. It was just like,
you should
definitely
jump on board if you have a chance to go rec, just because that is the future. The whole country is going to go rec at a certain point, and that whole word recreational will probably be over in a few years too, because none of us doesn't really mean anything to any of us. It's like recreational. Should be religious is what it should be. This is my religion, man. That's what I do. It's not recreational. That sounds so blasé,
Well, I had my aunt.
Recreational is like
70 tomorrow.
Water skiing is recreational. That's like recreational. I went out water skiing today. That would be, to me, that's recreational. Or riding on a ATV is recreational. You know what I mean? But smoking weed, that's not recreational. That is religious sacrament.
Been there.
needs to be respected as that.
Yep. Teachers told me I was fine once I started again.
Really?
Yep.
There you go. Good teachers.
Good teachers. You do whatever you need to do.
But I think that the Nevada recreational model is going to become the true recreational model, because that's where people are going to fly in, get a bunch of weed, smoke in their room, smoke in the casino, smoke wherever they want to smoke, so they can feel like freedom reigns. And I'm pretty sure it's going to happen fast over there too, because even the people who think it's going to, I mean, Vinny's lived there for a while. He knows what's up. It's a tough town. It's not the easiest town to change, but at the same time, they're money-driven people. There's money involved here, and it's getting big.
Retarded money.
It's getting serious right now. It's getting to the point where people are buying up sections of the town to turn into recreational pot areas. So, and this is before it's even gone rec. So imagine the minute it hits there. Wow. And that's the good part, is that everyone's going to have a different vibe. You know, Colorado is going to always have that come skiing and snowboarding vibe, go outdoorsy, you know, do something kind of thing. Vegas, strictly come and be debaucherous for a weekend, you know. LA will be LA, and big, you know, you go out there for whatever, the Hollywood crap.
Well, that whole South, you got SoCal and NorCal. They are different.
Oh, they're totally different. And then you got,
Totally
you know, and then you got NorCal, which will always be very weed orientated, you know.
NorCal, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then, you know, just Central Cal, which is where my Big
Southern.
Sur Holy comes from. So there's good weed all over Cali, that's for sure. But in general, it's just like everyone's going to have their own little vibe. Like, what are you here for? Oh, you want to go surfing? Go to Cali, you know what I mean? You want to
go to Oregon?
Yeah, you go out in the woods or whatever, you know. It's
You go out to Mount Hood.
So it's going to be interesting to see, like, the recreational part is not the cannabis smoking. It's going to be what you do while you're smoking cannabis. That's the recreational side, and that's kind of where they're going to see that their wording maybe is just a little weird. It should just be retail. I mean, that's what it is. It's retail, right? We're doing retail sales of cannabis. Just call it what it is.
I'm not sure about the testing though on the like the DUI thing, or if you're going to be able to go to a park, or you're going to be able to be out in public, and they're going to say, "Oh no, you can't be here," type of a thing. I think that'll go away with
goes away fast. All of that stuff. When you let people smoke weed around people who don't smoke weed, then they get an idea real quickly. Like, hey, nothing really happened. They're all very friendly, and they're all talking to each other. Ooh,
no fights.
This is dangerous. This is terrible. You know what I mean? So after a while, it's like it works its way out. That's why police officers mostly are pretty positive about cannabis, because they've seen everything. They've seen people smacked out, cracked out, drunk, whatever. And when they run into a guy smoking weed, it's like they are barely a problem to deal with. So for them, it's like they have seen the light a long time ago. You know, and then it's the small towns that people don't, you know, they have this big city problems. They have way worse problems. It's called meth, guys. You know, that's your big problem. That's what you should be looking at. So, and a lot of those people, because they don't know the difference between meth and cannabis, they just assume that's all drugs. You know what I mean? Drugs.
Yeah.
They see a guy down the street and he looks all picked his face out and looks like death, warmed over. That's weed. You know what I mean? They don't know. So it's just letting us now do our thing and let them see what we're doing. And it all pans out in the long run. I mean, that's kind of the way things work. So I think if we just have to kind of stick to our guns and do what we're doing. And, you know, it all kind of like the good fight will win on this one, at least on this one.
Well, it's the more positive. The more people that talk about it positive, the more it'll spread out laterally, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
It'll just, my mom, her sister, my grandfather, they'll all accept it faster.
Yeah. No, the generational gap is getting closer too. So it's like the chances, the differences are very subtle. And the thing is, the kids now that are, say, like 20, 21, and then the older generation that are in their late 50s, early 60s, they've all kind of been told the same lies at the same times, and they both figuring them out at the same time. So in a way, they have no. It's not the same deal as like, you crazy kids. You know,
so we were the crazy kids.
Because now people that are my age are in charge, and they have kids that are 20 years old plus. So they've already. It's another whole generation behind mine, you know what I mean? And then that generation,
and they're starting the next
hopefully is I mean, I've seen some pretty lame ones out there. I have to say, every time I see kids, I'm like, I'm turning into that old guy. You kids, you don't know how to do this. You know, I do that too, but especially when it comes to weed, because I'll be like, come on, you little pussy, like, get over here. Let me show you what's up. But what I've noticed lately is that it seems like the generation gap between the other is started cutting closer, and a lot of it is due to the fact that we all have the same problems. You know, it's always it's like, you know, we're sort of you know, redoing the same things over as the generation before us, but hopefully we're adjusting where they made mistakes. And probably the big one being, in our opinion, as a cannabis show or whatever, is obviously the cannabis prohibition is the biggest conspiracy against America since, you know, who knows when. And the biggest probably ever, because it kept everybody from health. You know what I mean?
Knowledge.
Well, and health is the key. It's like a healthy society is a productive society. You know what I mean? And the fact that we have such a massive amount of obese people, we have such a unaggressive workforce. You know what I mean? An unproductive workforce and not effective. That, you know, it makes America like a kind of a joke in a way. So this being real work based on real stuff, we're talking farming, in industry and all that stuff.
Production.
As long as we have within us somehow still have the working capability that we seem to have lost. And this is something that it's very generational again. After World War II, our workforce was the best workforce that's ever been seen in America because these were trained soldiers that came home and got jobs and worked in the industry because we had an industry at that point. So we had car industry, we had all sorts of things going on, and we were in the 50s considered, you know, the top dog. You know what I mean? We, of course, then we lost our way, you know, along the way. But at the same time, we definitely were at that point the most productive, because if you looked at the workforce at that time, they were, you know, healthy young men who just came back from the service and they're ready to work and do their job, and their wives and girlfriends have been doing all the jobs for them while they were overseas. So pretty much we were like a workforce, you know what I mean? My grandmother worked, everybody was like, she was in the Marines, you know, so my grandmother was in the Marines. She worked her ass off while the guys were across seas, you know, so all of us were working, and then it seems like we kind of like farmed it all off to other countries. You can't even like call in for help on your electronics if it's in another country, you know, whatever. It's all farmed off to somebody else. So we're calling India to find out about our phones, you know, over here, and it's just
press of a button.
So all this incredibly smart ways of outsourcing have actually made us less productive, you know, less effective as a country, and so I'm hoping that this whole new giant like revitalization is going to be more than just people getting high, and that's, you know, that's not what it's about. It's going to be massive working conditions available for people, 100 million jobs
that save the planet,
you know, and that's just like right away. That's not even like what would be evolved from that. Those 100 million jobs could easily create another 100 million jobs, because that's how things happen. We do something productive. So yeah, we're looking at some, if we as a country are ready to do this, best opportunity we've ever had. Now, hopefully we can get the people involved that actually have to do it, which is, you know, again, we're back to the youth, you know, 18 years old, just got out of school, looking for a job, can't even get a job flipping a burger nowadays, you know. But then if there's factories opening up, then there's a serious opportunity.
So many realms to that whole thing. Yeah.
Well, I'm not 100% sure that they're ready for it, because I don't know. You know, it is one of those tough ones to call, because the reality is, as it gets closer, we're talking less than a month away. Real deal now, you know. So there'll be plenty of excuses. There's always, we're very good at excuses. That's one thing I've noticed. There'll be plenty of excuses, but as it all pans out, I'm pretty sure that we're going to have major products coming out of Colorado to show off this new industry that we have, and then other states are going to be pretty jealous.
Wanting to follow.
Oh, of course they want to follow.
Instantly.
Of course.
To see Florida come in, though, that was...
Oh, yeah, Florida's a funny one, right? I mean, that's pretty much all when Oklahoma rolls in, we're going to be all looking at it like, oh, my God. Florida needs cannabis. They don't even they shouldn't even question it. They need it because they are. I mean, they've never not had a drug problem. You know what I mean? The whole place has been a drug problem forever. It was cocaine problem, it's meth problems around there. Right now it's an Oxycontin nightmare down there. So they have pretty much been deep in the whole drug world, but at the same time they've had the most extreme drug laws. I lived in Fort Lauderdale. Was the last place I lived in America in 87, I guess it was. No, 88. And it was pretty extreme. It was like 88 in Florida.
You left.
88 in Florida was pretty drug infested, I'd have to say.
Pretty dried out for weed, though.
Oh, there was no good weed there.
No,
it was drug infested in a bad drug way, but it was definitely, there was never that great of weed. I always had like Jamaican and shit down there. I used to smoke a lot of Jamaican weed or import. It wasn't, you could get crypto, but you had to spend a ton of money. And no, it was pretty, it was definitely a drug infested place. And then now with the whole, I haven't been there in so long to like really hanging out, but when I watch those Vice reports and stuff about oxys and stuff, and those they have those
face eaters,
the mills they call them, they have the kind of like a puppy mill, but it's for oxys. They're just running them out the door, and it's just like, wow, this is interesting. And these guys are professionals, and they just go around from spot to spot and grab their oxys and sell them back on the street at 10 times whatever. It's just like, come on, guys. It's
like, hey, Bill, how you doing today? Really?
So yeah. Couldn't get a better state to get cannabis on the ballot than Florida. So good job, guys. Proud of you. Actually, I met some of the people that were involved in that, and they seemed to be pretty positive that it was going to go through. So I am definitely going to cross my fingers on that one. Other states, what other states jumped on board? There's a lot this recently. It's been New York, of course, is the big one, because got 16 million people there, and a whole lot of them never tried cannabis or good cannabis, so they'd be very interested to, almost like how here people just, especially when there was a way to get it legally.
Can we say who's involved?
No.
Good thing I asked.
So they I see, you always make me lose my train of thought. You're like the professional. He's like he's a tripper-upper.
So we're in New York.
Oh yeah, New York. Booyah, New York. At least he remembers. But New York, you got 16 million people there. A lot of people have never had really high quality cannabis. So for them, the ability to just even be exposed to it's going to be huge. Obviously, sour diesel is going to be still the number one strain from New York. I can't imagine anything else overtaking it for a while. But I think all my friends out there that have been fighting the fight in New York for so many years are going to be happy to have a little bit of pressure relieved. The one thing about New York that trips me out is every time I'm there, you forget that you have to go inside and into elevators and then up and then down and then back and then in. And I'm always got like a sack of weed on me and just like there's that moment where you're in the elevator and you're like, everyone's looking around. And they all know it's me, of course, but still. Usually people ask, a lot of times what I've noticed is most, people aren't pretty straightforward about it now too. They're just like straight to the point, like, all right. Especially the guy running the elevator. If somebody be like, wait. High Times office was fun. High Times office was fun because when you go there, the old office, I haven't been to the new office, but the old office was like, on the elevator up, as you pass their floor, it just reeked, you know what I mean? So it was like pretty much became normal. And you know how those elevator shafts are, just like air passing through them and stuff. So walked in that building and it just reeked of weed all the time. So some places get used to it, and that's the thing. It's all about getting used to just this beautiful smell that we have. It's not even that you should get used to it. It's actually really nice. But apparently some people they need to get used to it. What's wrong?
Apparently. Those people that can't handle the smell.
Yeah, it trips me out. Like when I get or I've seen police officers at the scene of a grow room or something where they have to break it down and they have a reaction. I'm like,
what?
Oh yeah, I've seen it. Especially in Holland. They're like, they get all hazmated suit up and stuff. You're like, dude, you realize you're in a grow room, right? We walk around in there all day long. You don't need a hazmat suit, but they just look at it a lot of times as like the same as if it was a meth lab or whatever, because they see chemicals and they go, it's like it's phosphorus, dude. It's hardly something to be worried about. But yeah, but in general, they they definitely overreact sometimes. What's going on there? Got Sour D something? Sour D shout out.
Sour D stinks when you smoke it.
Sour D stinks when you smoke it. Hey, we got some major deals out there. Good call. Yes, it does.
There
it
needs
smells.
to be a sour D cup.
In New York, yeah, for sure there should be a sour D cup in New York because there's two. I mean, it is like the strain of the city, that's for sure. Having said that,
In search of
always
good
looking
sour Ds.
always looking for better sour Ds if you got one.
Got one.
So yeah, New York's looking like it's going to be on the working its way towards medical and hopefully recreational soon. I think the rec thing is going to have to just kick in quicker than people believe because it's like to be medical was like, oh, that was yes, we're medical, but now we've already stepped that game up. We're rec, so and. You want to step it up to you might as well just jump that whole medical thing. There's no reason for that. Go straight to the rec. Got crazy people up there. We got crazy people in the studio. Let's see, other exciting news that I can throw out before we have like another 15 or so. Oh, there you go. See, good job. This is our first Friday coming up this Friday. Wow, it's already 3 days away. This will be the last installment of Vincent Gordon and Sean Dietrich with their Fear and Loathing Across America. And this one is going to be called Fear and Loving, since we are loving it over here in Colorado. And it's Valentine's Day, so coming up soon. So it's going to be the Fear and Loving edition of the Fear and Loathing Across America with Sean Dietrich and Vincent Gordon at the Hood Lab, 7 o'clock starting on this Friday, going on till midnight or so. He's got a bunch of guest artists. I don't have them in front of me to show you, but he's got at least 6 or 8 other guest artists that are coming. So the show is going to be different if you have come to the last ones. It's like we like to change them up each time. So we're going to have some live art going on, I believe, and he's also got a bunch of different artists coming in from all over the place. So cool show. Last time we had a fashion show. That was pretty awesome. Burlesque fashion show. And then the first round was scrapping it together, just making that show happen. So this will be our 3rd installment of that one. We scrapped it together. That's how we do.
It looked awesome.
Oh, of course it looked awesome. I'm just saying when I say scrap it together, it means me and Vinny are putting screws in and hanging stuff, and people are walking in, and that's just how it goes. Because
magic.
Last thing you want to do is set it up the day before.
And then somebody wants to change it,
and then I change it. That's the thing. I know myself, so I know I have to do everything last minute, or else I'll want to change it, and then it will be twice as much work for everybody. So let's just do it once and make it happen. And I work good under pressure, too.
I've learned this lesson.
This is my key, is under pressure.
Don't worry about it.
I mean, it's about how much, well, not that I'm going to say this show's so great, but how many notes did I put down? None, 0. Just like rolled in, I need something. So that's how we do. Sometimes we do our best work.
It's an awesome stage. And if you really knew, you'd be like, really?
Yeah. Yeah. And so then we also have, the 15th of this month, we were having our friend DJ coming in from Amsterdam from Bass Ground to play at our Uncontrollable party, which is every 3rd Saturday of the month at the Hood Lab. Going to be a 6 show. Like I said, she's our friend for over 10 years. We did parties together in Amsterdam. We did the Retox parties out there. She's the queen bee of the drum and bass world, especially in Europe. She plays on bass. She plays. Her label is Bass Ground, but she plays on all sorts of labels from UK and travels the world. So that's what we like. Get her over here, So this that'll be the 15th of this month, and that is going to be sponsored by Way to Grow. They're going to have the Way to Grow girl bar there, so girls drink for free. So that's a very rare occasion at the Hood Lab, but
there is.
A combination of ladies and free drinks. I mean, come on. What's that?
That's the...
There it is. Oh, there you go. See, Way to Grow. I don't need any of that. I know all the things. $10 at the door. There'll be a raffle going on. There's a $5 list. So if either come to us if you want to get on that list. It's special treatment. So we've got. Is this year? No.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Huh?
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of stuff going on.
It
so
should be good.
Mighty Haiku is a collective of Mr. SOS, Ricky Raw, and A-Bomb. Okay, a bunch of different MCs. It's going to be good. We're going to have...
They're getting it.
Wow, what's all that? No reply. All right. So that's the Saturday. Third Saturdays at the Hood Lab. I want to thank my sponsors, Way to Grow, again one more time. Thank you guys for making this show possible. And when we get the next giveaway from them, I'll keep you updated what days to go. And if you do happen to go through there, just tell them Sage Master sent you and get a little extra special treatment. Hopefully. And if you don't get extra special treatment, tell me so I can make sure. Go slap them around.
Somebody's down.
So, and what else we got? Anything else exciting?
Boulder Wellness.
Boulder Wellness. Haven't talked to them for a while. Actually, I think I got about a good 2 months worth of sponsorship from them.
Well, we know our people are.
And we know how they sponsor us. They sponsor us with the goods, the ganj, the good things, man.
Always got to get.
Actually, if you do want good strains of THC strains and you're in Colorado, you can always go to Boulder Wellness. They have a good selection of our stuff on the shelf all the time. And people drive. I've got friends driving all the way from here, from Denver to Boulder on a daily, because of their specials are so good and their treatment is so good and the way they just do their things right.
They do it right.
They do it right. So Boulder Wellness, I think it's 1420 Arapahoe in Boulder, I believe. I know there's a 420 in there, so it's got to be that, right? Easy to look up, Boulder Wellness, Arapahoe, and 58th is, I think, the cross street. Check them out. They're about to go rec, I think, in April, so right now they are strictly medical, but in a few months, everyone can go to them. Who's over 21, of course.
And always a shout out for Mitch.
From Incredible. Shout out to Mitch from Incredible. He's out in California right now, I know. So I don't know if he's listening to the show because he's not the most dedicated guy when it comes to the show. Yeah. Better get more dedicated if you want more shout outs there, Mitch. But Mitch from Incredible had the milk bar at our place last parties. Those are pretty awesome. I don't know if any of you guys haven't experienced the milk bar. It's basically shots of, well, not shots because you fill up whole mugs, but it's like pints of smoke coming out of your tap. It's pretty awesome. Running through an Incredible, of course, because it's the Incredible milk bar. We'll be seen at the lab, definitely around the 420 times. We just had it there for a few weeks to check it out, but now it's going.
To a party for tonight, I think.
It's off to a party. Which you don't know where that one's at, huh?
No.
Damn, we could have been sticking the party for him. Oh, well. If Mitch is listening somehow miraculously, call us up, tell me where that party's at, and we'll hype it up for you. And anything else exciting? We got about 10 minutes left to wrap it up. So if you guys got questions, please send them my way. I got 10 more minutes. And I'll see. I'm doing pretty good at answering them today. Just I don't have my iPad. Oh, here. I'm pissed. Here, I'll give an Apple pissed off story. If you have an iPad, don't upgrade it to iOS 7, please, because I did that and it was a fucking waste of time, dude. It was like now I can't even charge my iPad on any third-party charger because it recognizes it and it just won't let you charge it. So the chargers that used to work don't work anymore for me. So now I have to go out and buy a $45
65-watt charger or
some stupid charger.
The don't work anymore.
Well, not even that. It recognizes third party. So if you have a Belkin or any other charger and you upgrade to iOS 7, you're like, ugh. So now I got this bricked iPad with me running around. I can't even charge it anywhere. I'm like, just one day I might go out and buy a charger for it because I'm just too lazy right now. It's like, ugh. What's that Coco question?
It says Coco.
Coco? That's it? Coco question mark? Coco's great for production because it's easy and clean. But it's not necessarily my favorite medium, mostly because it's very attractive to gnats and root aphids and these other bugs love it. It's like it's too nice for them. So I think
like a jungle in there.
You know, if you kind of create like this perfect atmosphere for them. To come, like it's like almost like if they were to see if you were to see a big beautiful empty swimming pool, you know, and you're like, hey, let's go hang out over there, you know what I mean? It's like
warm light,
you know, compared to you know, kind of a swampy zone, you know. But soil to me is way more user friendly. Cocoa, you need to have special fertilizers. Salts can become an issue with cocoa. That's also one of the biggest things I didn't like about it is that it tends to, you'll notice at the bottom of your stems, you'll have a big crusty white zone there because there's so much calcium buildup on them. So, you know, you have to flush them a lot more. I have friends who have dialed in their cocoa though, and they get huge yields. Oops. They get huge yields, and they do really well. Oh, we have a phone call calling in. Welcome to the Adam Dunn Show.
Hello there. The Colombian Red Bud that we used to get here in the 80s, what strain now is closest to that?
That's a toughie. There's not a lot of Colombian genetics within our modern stuff. It seems like that a lot of those strains, especially like you'd also notice like the Mexican Oaxacan varieties and things like that. They were such a indigenous strain to the region, and they grew such low yields for what they produced, but it didn't matter because you were growing them outdoors in huge amounts. So anytime people brought those indoors, like what happened was they'd end up with like through the roof or no yield because they're on a very equatorial time frame, so that it's not quite 12-12, it's more like an 11-13, and the plants respond really differently between just that 1 little hour difference. So you can try to adjust it to make it the 13-11, but even that sometimes isn't quite correct. So you'd end up with like 12-foot tall plants in a 10-foot room, which isn't a good idea usually. So you don't have too much in that variety in those varietals unless people kept at it, let's say, or greenhouse growing maybe. But like for instance, AK-47, the strain itself, like it has there's some of that old school flavor within that plant, but it's also overshadowed by the Afghanis that are in it, that you almost have a really hard time to, because those are like pure sativa plants that take 120 days to grow, So I don't really know too many Colombians. I've seen some on the menus here and there, but I've always been like straight up bullshit, I think. You know what I mean? Because you'd be like, really? That's supposed to be Colombian gold? I don't think so. Just totally big Afghani looking buds or something, So, probably somebody like yourself would be the best way to figure this out, because most people from my generation never had a chance to even smoke it, so they don't have a clue of what they're looking for, The closest I've come was like a lot of Thai varieties back in the late 80s in New York. Really? No, late, like 86, 87. Mm-hmm. Did you ever run into any of those?
Yes, we had some Thai here. It was both on sticks and off. Yeah. They were usually about 3 inches long when they were on a stick.
Yeah, and then the ones on the stick were that was actually like Americans who moved to Thailand and then decided that was a better way to transport them, because they were getting all this like dusty, beat up stuff, and so they would sell it for more expensive because it was put on the stick. But the real local Thais never really even did that. That was like such a non-indigenous thing. But what they did have was what I remember, which was a very almost purpley dark, solid resiny nugs. Do you remember those in the late 80s?
They were
really small. Yeah, small and like burned really slow though. Like it had such an incredibly slow burning to it and such a unique
real
flavor.
Sticky. You had to wipe your mouth off after it hit.
Exactly. And the thing about that, what I was trying to explain is that because I had a chance to smoke that, I really know that, like I can remember it in my mind, I can remember the texture and the flavor. I'd have a really hard time to describe it to somebody and have them understand what I'm trying to describe. Just because that's the thing about cannabis in general, is it's such, like, you're like, oh, it tastes a little bit like my grandmother's bathroom. You're like, how did you get that out of your head? But everybody has such different little points in their mind where they think that, like, which way the cannabis flavor's going. You know what I mean? So
we're all trying to get our childhood back here.
And what was what do you think the most distinctive flavor or combination of those things were? How would you describe it? Give us a kind of a 5-word.
It was more of a piney type flavor.
As I was going, Christmas tree.
Christmas tree?
Yeah.
In the Northwest, we called that Christmas tree.
The buds were not very tall, but they had an appearance of a pine cone. They had that sort of look to it where it was tapered.
It only came out once a year, too.
And of course, it had seeds in it, too.
Oh.
Yeah, no, and that's... No, I had somebody who called in last week and said he still had some seeds that were in their 20-plus years old. And I told him, just crack those things, because, somebody's got to have somebody must have kept it going, because there's no way that everybody who gravitated towards this flavor, that not one person out of the tens of thousands of people that smoked it would have not thought, maybe I should grow this and somewhere. Hopefully dialed it in.
Well, those were the two in the Northwest. Was the skunk, the pure just green skunk. You'd open it up, you could smell it all the way down the hall, and then the Christmas tree. And the Christmas tree was always at Christmas. Smelled just like a pine tree. You just open it up, or an air freshener times 10.
Yeah, that was it.
Wow, that's funny because I wouldn't imagine that. See, again, like that's a classic example of where, like, I wouldn't from the name think that. You know what I mean? I would think more spicy, and I'd have more of these other ideas in my mind because I'm thinking of when I have cannabis that's got that color, like when it has a more of a golden color, it doesn't tend to be so piney. The pinier stuff, in my opinion, is more the indica-based ones that have that real sharpie kind of pine thing. So it's kind of funny to see which way these flavors and terpenes kind of came from,
Where do they go, though?
Where do they go? Well, there's actually a company in California right now that is taking and profiling all the cannabis it can find, like taking Granddaddy Purps, for example, profiling it, getting a terpene and a terpenoid profile, and then instead of like just trying to like isolate it for that reason, they'll actually go to the source of these terpenes, like for instance a pinene, which would be probably what's a lot in that one strain that you're talking about, is the actual pine terpene, that pine trees have a lot of. So they would take it from the pine tree and not from the cannabis, and then they would take the pie slice chart, and they would, for instance, if that was 3%, they would add 3% of the pinene, and they'd add 2% of this other one, and 1%, and then they'd build the flavor back. And my friends have actually smoked it, and they said it was eerily close. Like they smoked OG that tasted like OG, but it wasn't OG. It was some other plant that had very little flavor that they added this to. So I was like, wow. So if we could get the old profile back, we could possibly redesign it. That is, there's a way to rebuild it.
Yeah, dial it in like a telephone number.
Almost right.
Yep.
Hey, thanks for that.
Alrighty.
Hey, thanks for that one.
For your help.
Yeah, give us a call back whenever. We'd love to help.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Yeah, it's always fun to hear these old strains because they are in their brain somewhere.
You guys don't even know.
They're in there, and that's the thing. We don't know. I don't know because I've smoked a lot of Mexican and a lot of like other strains, but not very, very. No, I never smoked pure Colombian Gold. Never. Like that's just never.
We got that.
Never came my way, unfortunately.
We ended up with true Lebanese blonde hash.
Tried a lot of hash from all over the world that I know came from the spots that it came from, which is, that's like a good indicator. Like Nepalese hash. If you've never smoked Nepalese hash, it's on the flowerier side of the hashes, so it's got a very, but it's also very unique. Like each piece is going to be a little different because they're hand rubbed. So it means Vinny rubs his a little too hard. That's what I said. I said Vinny rubs his too hard. You got to be gentle. Got to be gentle, Vinny. So it depends on who and how aggressive they are, and where what their immediate goal is. Their goal to make the best quality in the world, or is their goal to get the most out of it? And if their goal is to get the most, well, you've just smoked a bunch of their literal skin. Probably rub their skin right off into there, just get a little extra weight off.
Yeah, because that was darker, but the blonde was always just perfect. You can sit a layer to
Well, Lebanese is not hand rubbed. Lebanese is dry sieved. Yeah. Lebanese is dry sieve. Moroccan dry sieve. Afghani would use. They do dry sieve, but then it was weird. They would do like an underwater press. They'd seal it all up and they put it in hot water and press it so it turned that black. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's actually, but they'd keep it from getting wet. It's just that
they didn't roll it.
No, they didn't roll it. No, that was. I mean, well, they would with smaller amounts. So that's the thing with Morocco. They wouldn't roll it like off the plant, but they would roll it after and make these little
make the little ball and then
make a little square. They make little tubes out of them.
This guy's making cones now.
Cones. Yeah. Rolling hash is fun, I have to say. It's one of those things. You definitely have good times. Another question? No. So we're winding down. The last 5 minutes. Huh? We're done? We're done. I am Adam Dunn, and we are done. And this is the last of this show. If anybody next week, I don't have a clue I'm going to bring on. I don't have a clue what I'm going to talk about, but it'll be good. because now I got a whole week to figure this out.
Every week something happens that's way different than the last one.
So thanks for everybody for joining us. Thanks for all my sponsors, obviously. Way to Grow, Boulder Wellness. Shout out to Mom, Baby, and Wife, and little Nick, Cece, and Ace.
Little man.
Exactly. And Rob out there at the farm. Make sure you do some work before I get out there. Get some work done. Nothing but work out there. So thanks, everybody, and I'll see you next week.
Positive.